It took me a long time to realize that my issues romantically with narcissistic people stemmed from having a narcissistic parent. I think there's a definite connection between this. That being said, this video talks about signs that you might have a narcissistic parent, and if you do feel as if you have a very toxic parent or guardian, I'll briefly go over some of the options that you have for how to handle this person. The hallmark of narcissism, regardless of who you're dealing with, is a clear lack of empathy. Empathy is that ability that we have to understand what other people are going through. If somebody is sad over the loss of a person, we get that, we feel that, we can understand why. When you're dealing with somebody and they never seem to care how anybody else is, who's having a bad day, or what's gone wrong, this is a sign that there's a lack of empathy and there might be a level of toxicity there. Partner, spouse, lover, coworker, parent, child, those with full-blown NPD lack empathy. There are parents who will also try to live through their children. I don't think it's something that stops once you grow up. Narcs will try to live vicariously through their children's career, having kids, getting married, going on maybe certain trips or what have you, so on and so forth. A narcissistic parent will use anything that you have as a child, and yes, even into adulthood, if they think it can further something that they want, or if they feel it will benefit them. For a lot of people, colleges are chosen for them, for example. Careers or spouses might be placed in front of them for very specific reasons, all because this does something for the parent. Did your parent maybe get you and try to push you into playing sports or doing something when you were in school just because they wanted to eat up the glory when you got first place, you won the big game, you did something? Or perhaps your parent guided you towards a person that they wanted you to marry because it was a good person for them, not for you. That is also definitely something that can happen where they live vicariously and try to use you to benefit themselves and try to further what they have going on. With that being said, I want to slide right into manipulation. Along with their lack of empathy and living through their kids, highly narcissistic parents use all kinds of manipulation tricks and tactics. Again, this will absolutely keep happening once the child becomes an adult. There's really no reason for the narcissist to stop what they're doing. They just switch things up as, of course, we move into adulthood. There are things that I call like perfection pressure. A child is pressured for perfect grades, to look perfect, to be the best, all that kind of stuff. The perfectionist ways of the narcissist set ridiculous, unrealistic expectations on the child and can also happen as an adult. Parents that are highly narky are also super big on guilt trips. I find it's really common across the board. Narcs just guilt trip. That's what they do. We also have to throw in other forms of manipulation, the shaming and the blaming. Blame shifting so that you're always wrong and shaming you when you will not jump and meet, again, ridiculously set standards that nobody could reach. Within these relationships with narc parents and then their children, dependence and codependence are two things that might start to happen. A part of parental manipulation is the reward and punishment system, and this can actually cause that trauma bond to form. A child will try and try to keep getting those rewards when they do well. Lots of children just resign to taking punishment because they know at one point they'll get the reward. Just as we will stay in relationships and suffer abuse because at one point things will be temporarily good again. I've read a lot of articles and blogs written by children of narcissists who weren't allowed to go to school. Their parents insisted on homeschooling them, which they didn't do. They refused their children getting an education, and this causes an adult to become reliant on their folks forever. And when that happens, typically the child will never leave and never do very well, allowing the narcissist to have this person around forever to abuse as a constant source of supply. Now, on the flip side, the narcissist can be very codependent and push their kids to be ultra successful or what have you, and then latch onto the child and leech and become completely dependent on their children. Now, in some cases, like mine, very little of what I've actually talked about so far actually happens. I personally endured a completely different kind of abuse from my narcissistic parent. I suffered severe neglect. I'm pretty sure the fact I was breathing air bothered my narcissistic parent most of the time. I was constantly told to go to my room, stay in my room. I wasn't allowed to go to a lot of places or do a lot of things. I was always made to feel like I was bad, I was wrong, I was doing something wrong, I was in trouble. I just needed to go and sit in the corner, not cause any commotion, and be quiet because nobody wanted to deal with me. And this happens when kids get neglected. And narcs can do this quite often. Some obsess and helicopter over their kids and stick their nose in everything. And there are some that have absolutely no interest in anything that you are doing whatsoever. My narcissistic parent was interested in nothing that I had to offer as far as supply goes. And I'm never going to sit here and say that different kinds of abuse are worse than the other. I don't think that's a very good conversation to have. I will say, though, I think it is a little bit easier to move forward with your life and make certain decisions when someone narcissistic doesn't want anything to do with you. I think it makes the escape that we all have to do maybe just a touch easier than when they want to keep hanging on and they make it seem as if they want a relationship with you. When you're neglected, it's pretty cut and dry that they don't want to deal with you. As a survivor of narcissistic abuse, I know it might be hard to find people to talk to about what you might be going through, what you might be thinking and feeling, what you have going on. I offer a variety of pointers and suggestions for survivors who want help and support. We can discuss tips for recovering from a toxic trauma bond, how to detach, or if you just want someone to listen who's been through it, I'm here for that too. Send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com for more information. If you don't want to do that, you're free to visit my website and get that same information and book phone sessions with me there. The link is on the screen and down in the description for you. I'm here to help you through this. There are also other signs I didn't dive into, like how superficial these people are, how they like to minimize any problems you have in your life, marginalize you. I didn't touch on how touchy these people actually are or anything about jealousy, but we don't want to be here all damn day. If you feel as if you have a narcissistic parent, which if you're listening, maybe you do. If you don't want to label this person, that's very smart. But let's just say you're listening because you feel like you have a parent or two with some levels of toxicity. You do have options. You can choose to not have a relationship with this person. Very hard when it's with a family member, when it's with a parent. I reached a point in my life where I finally had to tell myself I was not going to continue to reach out to try to force this person to want me or love me. Not easy. I get it because I did it. But you can choose to go no contact, to break away, to move forward with your life. If you don't want to do that, you certainly don't have to. Again, you have choices. That's what makes this so great. You can choose to fall back in the relationship and, so to speak, come around a little less often and have a little less to do with this individual, just to try to protect yourself a little bit more. There is a method called Gray Rock, and the method teaches you how to teach the narcissist that they need to move along and find someone else to abuse. You share less, you protect yourself, so you still have a relationship with them. It's just a very subdued relationship, for lack of a better term. We do, however, only have so many choices in life. We can do nothing. When it comes to the narc, we can try the Gray Rock method and step back and not be so involved, or we can cut the cord entirely and move on. That's really about it as far as our choices go, but it's better than having no choice at all. Remember, you're never alone. You're certainly not crazy. You're not the only one going through this. And you don't have to keep going through it if you don't want to. There are things that you can do, books you can read, videos you can watch, and people you can talk to that can give you other options that can absolutely help you get there. However, I want to read your thoughts. So, what are signs that you have noticed about narcissistic parents? What did I miss? Have you gone no contact with a parent or a guardian? Are you trying to gray rock? Share all of that information with me if you feel comfortable, of course, down in the comments. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.